This podcast is part of the Zeo to Hero podcast network. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming back to the show. My name is Jared. I am the host here at If You Give a Data podcast, and tonight's guest is going to be really cool. He kind of checks all the boxes when it comes to this podcast. We've got a little bit of wrestling here. We've got some, some comic book here. We've got some really cool movies going on and everything. And so tonight I have with me a Canadian actor, a former pro wrestler, a comic creator, and he's known for lots of different movies and TV shows, but he was in Troy. He was in Joe Dirt. He was in both Rob Zombie Halloween films as Michael Myers. And he was also Sabretooth in the X-Men movie and the Deadpool movie that just came out this year. And I am talking to Tyler Mane. Man, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm like I said before I got started, I was really excited whenever Colin reached out to me about having you on the show. And I was like, wait a minute, Tyler Mane, I know that name. And then I kept reading the email and I was like, oh, that's who's coming on, who's wanting to come on the show. So thank you so much for coming on here. I am very excited to talk to you tonight.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
So we'll kind of just jump right into this,
Yeah, let's do it.
and I kind of want to start at the beginning because, a lot of what this show in the beginning was wrestling. About 80% when I first started doing this show, I had a lot of independent wrestlers on here, and I've kind of made friends with a lot of them now. And I know that you actually have a background in professional wrestling. You wrestled in WCW.
I do. Well, more than that, too. I
Oh, yeah, yeah.
wrestled for about 11 and a half years
Okay.
all over the world. Like you say, WCW, UWF,
Hmm.
NWA. Went to Japan, Germany, Austria, England, South Africa, Yugoslavia, uh, Puerto Rico, Mexico.
Wow.
I wrestled all over the world.
You did, yeah. So where did you start? Where did you train at? What?
I started in the Stu Hart's Jundra.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. Being
Okay.
a Canadian, I lived in Saskatchewan and drove to Calgary
Okay.
and got talking to Stu and some of the boys there, and I got the invite down into the dungeon.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so I earned my way in, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
Anytime you get into that dungeon and Stu Hart's like, kid, let me show you a double grapevine. Yeah. Hurt? Does it hurt? Yeah. That was my introduction to pro wrestling.
Okay. Well, you hear stories about, you could hear the people even in Brett's book, and even Jericho's book, talking about it. It's a legendary place,
Yeah.
and people who come
Yeah.
out of there, learn something, but he would stretch you,
Yes, he was. He,
and you would hear
you,
people coming out there hollering.
yeah, yeah. I think that the halls are still haunted of wannabe wrestlers screams as you walk down in there. You're like, where am I going?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's you got to earn your training sessions with Stu.
right, right. Um,
Yeah.
was there ever a point where you were like, man, I'm not sure about this whenever you were down there?
Oh hell yeah, that was from day one
They
till yeah, I'm training with Stu. You're like, I mean, I was gonna stick in there no matter what,
right,
but
right.
you know, and then the WWF at the time, Red Bastien came through,
Hmm.
and he asked me to come out to LA and start training there.
Hmm.
So I ended up doing that and trained with the Guerrero family
Yeah.
with Mondo Guerrero, and
Okay.
I got to know the Guerreros really well, the whole family, and worked with them in Mexico quite a bit, and then that's when I started my um, uh, acting career. I did one of those Mexican wrestling movies
Okay.
way back in the day, which were which is interesting. But when doing that, I realized that I wanted to make the transition for sure. I mean, I'd
Right.
wanted to do it all the way as a kid,
Yeah.
And then that was just kind of reassuring because I wasn't getting dropped on my head and I was getting paid and they fed me well. And I was like, okay, this is the better way to go.
Yeah. Well, and I know when it comes to the wrestling in Mexico, they're superheroes for them, and they
Yeah.
transcend wrestling there. So, it's kind of cool that you were able to see that side of it and get into, the acting and everything. And like you said, you don't have to get dropped on your head. So, I mean, it's like, oh, well, there's a plus right there. But I mean, I've always loved how deep and rich the history is in Mexican wrestling, and I had a guy here on the podcast not too long ago that lives in Baja of California, and he was talking about, some of the wrestling people that he's worked with and stuff, and just hearing the stories behind some of those is amazing because it, like I said, it transcends wrestling. They're heroes for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like going into Arena Mexico on a Friday,
Yeah,
and then the Coliseo on Sunday, it was amazing.
right, right.
The crowds were fantastic all throughout Mexico. And I
Yeah.
traveled uh, just about every city in Mexico. When we were wrestling there full time, we were wrestling like 9 times a week.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
a lot.
that's a lot of wrestling. That's a
That
lot of
is.
bumping,
Yeah.
especially in those hard rings.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, unless there's not a lot of cushion in those. So,
No, no.
I
I mean, they're
mean,
like boxing rings,
yeah,
basically. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. So I also saw that you have a semi-pro background in football that you did. I'm guessing this was before you jumped into wrestling, correct?
Yeah, yeah. That was before I was playing some semi-pro ball. I was supposed to play for the Montreal Alouettes the year that they folded
Hmm.
uh, in '86,
Okay.
and went to the pro wrestling and never looked back. You know.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it's all been a stepping stone. I've had some very interesting stepping stones throughout my vast career, if you want to call it that.
Well, you definitely have that, and I have to say, there's actually two of the movies that you've been in are my wife's favorite movies, in fact. And so Joe Dirt is
uh,
one of her favorite movies, which I do want to talk about that a little bit here in just a minute, as well as Halloween. I think that the Rob Zombie Halloween films don't get the credit that they deserve. They're great films. I really enjoy watching them, and they're some of my favorite as well.
yeah, they're definitely more intense than the other ones, and it shows the whole backstory of how Michael became he was a product of his environment,
Right, right.
and shows how he evolved.
I, I like that because of the psychology behind it. They're telling that. And that's the one thing, kind of going back to what we were talking about a minute is wrestling. I always loved the ring psychology, the why. Why does this happen? And I feel like in that movie, they gave you the why, and that always really spoke to me a little more than some other, horror films would because they gave you the why.
Yeah, I mean, Rob made him a three-dimensional character instead of a one-dimensional character, which was fantastic.
Right.
It showed that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, kind of talk about that. I mean, you had already started you had had, a major role when it comes to X-Men. You had played Sabretooth, you had done Troy, these different movies. Um, Trying out for that and, getting this part to be, such an iconic role, when it comes to Halloween, I mean, that we're right around the corner from Halloween right now as we speak,
we are.
and
Yes,
so
is my season,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
so to speak.
Yeah. So having you on the show at this time is actually pretty cool because it's going to come out right around Halloween time. So I really do appreciate that.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, like I did Devil's Rejects with Rob. I went and auditioned for the role that Diamond Dallas Page ended up getting.
Okay.
Little did I know that he was replacing the Rufus from the House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay. All right.
So 2 weeks go by after my audition. and didn't hear anything. And then I got a call, and it was wanting to replace the Rufus. Would I be interested in doing that role and just opening up the film? I said, hell, why not? You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I went on there for 4 days and met Rob, and got to chat with him quite a bit and stuff. And then after that 4 days, I was like, okay, there we go. About 2 years later, I think the phone rings and it's Rob Zombie, and he says, "Hey, I'm doing this movie. If you don't do it, I'm not going to do it." And I
Oh.
said, "Well," he's like, "It's Halloween. I wrote it with you in mind. Um, so let's do this movie," type of thing. It was pretty much written with me in mind,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, and then he was the funny thing is he was on, I think it was Kimmel or one of those shows, and talking about it, and they go, "Oh, do you know who Michael's going to be?" He goes, "Yeah, but I can't say his name because then they'll ask for more money." I was like,
That's good.
"Yeah, he had it planned."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is amazing that, he thought, had you in mind. Because I do know you were the tallest person to have played Michael, aren't you?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, because you're 6'9",
I'm about 6'7",
about 6'7".
6'7",
Okay.
6'8", somewhere in there. Yeah.
I mean, when you get up there, what
Doesn't matter. After six
exactly.
five, who cares, right?
Right, right, yeah. So, what would you say was the hardest part when it came to playing or preparing? Because I know I was reading into it, and you watched all but part three when you were
Right.
preparing for the role.
Which he doesn't even appear in. Michael Myers doesn't appear in. So
Right,
why would you
right.
watch? Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
How do you call that a Halloween?
I,
But,
yeah, I don't know.
but no, I mean, I watched all those, and then I did my research on serial killers
Yeah,
to, to see how they interact in society and
right,
stuff like that.
right,
And then just wanted to make it as vicious as I could,
right.
but also from in Halloween 1, you've got the asylum scenes where he's, kind of down and kind of plotting and planning his escape.
Hmm.
And if you see, I'm kind of slouched over and shuffling
Right.
until I get to Big Joe Grizzly at the truck stop and get the
Yeah,
outfit and
right,
the knife. And then once I dig up the mask again and put it back on, then Michael Myers is there in the full on killing machine. So
right.
I wanted to try and show the arc of how he gets back to his full killing machine.
Yeah.
So
So once you finally do break out, and I'm sure you've heard this many times before, there's one scene right there. It's kind of heartbreaking because there's the guy who has always been nice to Michael, you know?
Danny Trejo,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And,
Everybody goes, "Well, why did you kill him? He was so good to you, Mikey."
yeah,
Look, okay, for anybody that thinks that, if I would have let him live, there would be no movie because he would
right.
let me walk out the door. So
Yeah,
he had to go.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Yeah,
He had to
yeah,
die.
right.
And he died pretty well.
He did. Well, and the thing is it also, not only that, but it also just solidifies that, Michael is a monster, even somebody who was there, who was
He's
nice to
gonna get
him.
out. He's going to get out and do what he wanted to do, which for me was to reunite with my family.
Yeah, yeah,
But the way it came across, it was looking like I was hunting him. So,
right,
and I think it gave a different kind of feel to it.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a great, like I said, that's one of my favorite ones to go back and rewatch. And I just love Rob Zombie films in general. They're very gritty. And I love that style that he has. And he's a great creator when it comes to this. You know,
Yes.
um, which brings me to a point that I want to talk about, and you have started creating something, and that's kind of the reason why we've brought you on here tonight. And it's a comic that you have, that'll be coming out, or it's already out, isn't it? Um,
It'll
the
be indoors on the 20, I think the 29th
okay, okay, but you can
October.
but you can
But
order it on your website, right?
yes, you can
Okay.
order it. If you don't have a local comic book shop, you can get it at the lastspartan.com,
Hmm.
or you could get it at mainentertainment.com,
Okay.
tylermain.com. They
Yeah.
will all funnel you to the book. But to tell you a little bit about the book, it's called The Last Spartan Red Tape. It deals with human trafficking and human trafficking awareness. It's written by Christopher Priest and myself. Christopher wrote the Black Panther, Punisher, Vampirella, Captain America. He was just nominated for the Superman, for the Eisner.
Yeah.
Uh, we have the main soft cover is by Mark Silvestri, who wrote or who drew Batman, and I think no, he drew Wolverine and X-Men and owns Top Cow, and my wife used to work with him and was his editor in chief. And the interior is by Will Conrad, Jimbo Salgado, and Michael Montanot. So we have all top artists that are brought together on this, and written by Christopher Priest and myself. And what we're doing with it to raise awareness is a portion of the proceeds that we raise are being donated to deliverfund.org, an organization that helps develop technology for law enforcement to put an end to human trafficking and
Awesome.
put, like I like to call them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, so I kind of want to get into this book a little bit, not giving away too much,
Right.
because we want people to read this and everything. And you said that it was human trafficking is, what it deals with a lot. And I noticed that there's elements of, Sons of Anarchy in there. And, it seems like a very, going along with what we said before, it's kind of gritty, and
Yeah, it gets down and dirty and
it
gritty, and it
does.
deals with the real. It's based on original novel by John F. Saunders.
Okay.
And the funny way it came across my desk probably 15 to 18 years ago now. And his sons, he asked his sons who would be good to play Frank Kane, and they both said Tyler Mane. So that's how the book got to me in my desk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Renee read it and said, she goes, you got to take a look at this. This character is amazing.
Yeah.
He is so you, you know, down and dirty and gritty, and then what we did with it, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with it. We were wanting to turn it into a TV series or a feature film, but then we needed to update it, make it create a new world for it, because with the technology that is going on today, and how uh, you know uh, these traffickers lure victims the into trafficking,
Yeah.
we needed to create that world and create some more characters to help bring that all together.
Right.
And it's taken a little bit of time. It took us 3 years to write the novel and get it the graphic novel and get it done to where we are today, where the book is out. So
Yeah.
it's been a long process, because we wanted to be right and uh, to show just how things actually do happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
This world, it's a gritty, seedy underworld of human trafficking is very disgusting and vile.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And you don't expect it to affect kids are always like, oh, it's not going to happen to me, And
Right.
so my dad's a pastor of a church in Missouri, and there's a teenager that goes to their church there, and she was talking to somebody on the internet, and like a month later, this strange man shows up at their front door of their house. And it turns out he was the guy that she was talking to, and if you're not taking every precaution that you can, you're still not even taking enough, even if you are taking every precaution that you can, because they've got ways to mask themselves. And,
Oh yeah.
It's
Most of the
it's
time you don't
insane.
even have a most of the time you don't even have a clue of who you're talking to. And
Right.
the whole reason why I decided to that I had to do something and give back and work with Deliver Fund is every time I do go to a convention, I start talking about this project to people.
Yeah.
There's usually anywhere from one to three or four people that this has affected their lives.
Right.
Whether they're a
Right.
first responder that they deal with it and say, thank you very much for raising attention to this because the stuff we see is just horrific
Yeah.
to people whose family members have just about been trafficked or have been trafficked.
Right.
So, you know, hearing all these stories, I I realized it was something that I had to um, figure out how to give back and how to help put an end to it,
Right. Right. Yeah.
or at least
I had, I think it might have been my first or second year that I was doing this show. I had somebody who actually wrote a book called Fight for Me, and it deals with human trafficking as well.
yeah,
And so eye-opening. I was terrified because, I have a son and a daughter both, terrified for both of them. By the time I got done, talking to him and then reading the book, the amount of people that it affects is astronomical. Like you were saying, just about everybody you're speaking with, somebody has a way that it has affected their lives.
yeah, and it's going on in our backyard, so to speak, all over America,
Right.
and people don't even realize it. There was one where a girl was taken, and she was just taken to the town over, held in a hotel room, and trafficked, and she's so close to home,
Yeah.
but she was trafficked for that whole time,
Mm.
and it you, you just got to be aware of your surroundings, and if this can help a family open up the subject and talk about it to
Yeah.
be more aware and protect yourselves and be aware of your surroundings and not get yourself put into situations
Yeah.
that that could be detrimental to your well-being you
Right.
know
Right. Right.
it's like one of the stories that I heard. They were at a club, and the guy's niece got roofied, and two guys were trying to take her out the back door. Luckily, one of the bouncers realized it
Yeah.
and beat the hell out of the one guy. The other guy took off,
Yeah.
and police were able to track them to where they were, and they found three other girls handcuffed and drugged in a hotel room waiting for this fourth one to ship them all off.
Wow.
So I mean, you hear stories like that, just
Yeah.
think, and the guy was cheering up going, thank you for raising awareness to this, because a lot of people do not realize what is going on, and it's
Right.
it's not usually the way people think it's happening,
Right.
you know
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So kind of shifting a little bit here. Were you a comic book guy growing up?
Yeah. Back in Canada, okay, to give you the full backstory, I was a tall, skinny kid, glasses, braces, slightly dyslexic.
Okay.
What I would do is I would watch Stampede Wrestling
Yeah.
on Saturday mornings, and that was an hour show. Then I would start watching action films or whatever I could until the Wonderful World of Disney would come on Sunday night,
Yeah.
and I just dreaded that I had to go back to school because I was in special reading classes. I was picked on because back then people didn't know what dyslexia was.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So we had a white elephant sale at the school. That's where everybody brings their stuff. It's kind of like a big garage sale to raise money for the school.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's where I first saw uh, my comic books. I was probably in about the fourth grade or so, and I still have the comic books to this day. I've got a Archie, I've got a Archie and Jughead, I've got a Beetle Bailey, I've got a Boris Karloff, Tom
Yeah.
Sawyer. I just
Yeah.
got all of these because I was flipping through, and I go like, wow, this is really cool. The art was fantastic, and it was telling a story.
Right.
So that is what actually helped me learn how to read. So I would be looking at these comics. If I couldn't read the words, I could at least kind of make up my own story along the way with checking out the different panels and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And so it kind of that opened up my uh visual storytelling and actually helped me learn how to figure out how to read.
That's cool. That is really neat. That's a cool story. Well, and people, they always say that I love that comic books, they have two sides to them, yes, they have the words that you can read, but you can tell a
Yeah,
whole story just with the pictures. And
totally.
at one point, if you really think about it, we were kind of using pictures to tell stories on cave walls and stuff when they didn't have words that they could
Exactly.
put out there.
Exactly. And do you remember all the ads that would be in the back of comic books back in the day? The
Yeah.
Charles Atlas. That's what got me into working out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the Chuck Norris ones for the karate and stuff, that got me into karate.
Yeah.
That's that was
Oh,
it for me.
oh, yeah. They
Yeah.
always had some cool uh you know the commercials or ads that were in there, they
Yeah, it was the skinny guy on the beach, getting sand
yeah.
kicked in his face, and then
Yeah.
he's working out and I was like, I'm sick and tired of getting picked on, and
Yeah.
that got me into working out.
Yeah. Well, and you said that you know uh watched wrestling, every weekend.
I did.
Would you say that the getting into working out kind of pushed you more in that direction to trying out to doing wrestling?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
knew I needed to put them together. So I
Right.
started martial arts way back then too,
Yeah.
and was doing the martial arts and working out
Yeah. Yeah.
so that I knew I was kind of preparing
Right.
for what I wanted to
Yeah.
do. And then when I told people, they're like, "Yeah, right. You're not going to go be a pro wrestler."
Yeah.
And then and I did. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I remember I sold everything. I sold my golf clubs. I sold my electric guitar. I sold my Jeep.
Oh, wow.
Everything that I could just go and do this.
Yeah. Well, when you have a passion for something, and you definitely have to have a passion for something like wrestling, if you're going to do it, because otherwise you're going to be out in a heartbeat.
That is true. That
Yeah.
is true. Because it is not for the faint of heart. It's like the
No.
acting, you know.
Right. So you said you traveled the world. What would you say was let me see how to put this. I know that the crowds are different everywhere you go when wrestling. What would you say was your favorite crowd whenever it came to wrestling? Like what country would you say?
Wow.
Because they're different. I mean, like you go to
Are,
Japan and they're
you know?
completely quiet,
Yeah, well, and
until they're excited. Yeah.
unless you're wrestling somebody like Andre the Giant. I was
Okay. Yeah.
I was one of the in the Tokyo Dome. It was the World Tag Team Tournament where me and my partner were wrestling Andre and Baba,
Uh-huh.
and the place it got a little bit excited, and that turned out to be Andre's last match.
Oh,
Or
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
because that was in 1993, just before he passed away. Um, in it just all depends on where you go and what you're
Right.
doing. I was the heel, so I was getting I was pissed off at me as best as I could. Like
Yeah.
Durban, South Africa.
Yeah.
I was in a tag match and with the Angel of Death, and by the end of the time when we finally got out of the ring, we had a stack of chairs taller than us in the ring for people throwing them at it and rocks and all kinds of stuff.
Oh my
You know,
gosh. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting ride. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
This podcast is in association with the Three Ranger Bros Studios. What exactly is the Three Ranger Bros Studios, you ask? Well, let me explain. The Three Ranger Bros Studios is three particular content creators, myself, Ty Tiger, Cosplay Dude 637, and the Red Cornish Ranger, who came together as friends and decided to make a content creator group. The Three Ranger Bros Studios hosts all different types of content, a lot of nerdy and geeky content, talking about their favorite things within Marvel, DC, Power Rangers, different types of comics and video games, and so much more. Not only that, but we also create audio dramas together. We have a podcast, and there is so much for you guys to dive into. Not only that, we have 6 additional members that we have dubbed the Council, and the host of If You Give That a Podcast, Jared, is one of those council members. We're on TikTok under the name Three Ranger Bros Studios. We have a YouTube channel also known as the Three Ranger Bros Studios. Both of them will host lots of different nerdy and geeky content. You'll also find our podcast on the YouTube channel. And then we also have the Three Ranger Bros Audio Library, which is another YouTube channel where you guys can find our collective collaborative audio dramas that all 3 of us have worked on and came together and brought you some amazing stories for you guys to listen to. We are the Three Ranger Bros Studios. You should come check us out.
Yeah, so wrestling in Japan, I've learned to grow to really enjoy that because they're very respectful. I feel whenever they're watching it, they wait for those moments and then they applaud you for them, and it's
Right.
almost I've always felt like okay, that's kind of the way I watch wrestling. Like if I'm at home, I'm not sitting there screaming at the TV. And so I
Right.
always kind of identified with the way that they act when watching a match.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least your wife's hoping you're not yelling and screaming at the
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she's over. Would you shut up?
TV. Gotta think over here.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's all so different where, all over the world where you're getting the different crowds and stuff like that. But, it was fun being the heel and pissing them off.
yeah, yeah,
Getting the heat and doing that.
yeah. Would you say that you preferred being a heel?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You, you get your heat, you take your butt whooping, and you go home. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Well, you're not trying to get anybody to like you, which is much harder to do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And everybody's like, why, they'd meet you afterwards or whatever, wanting to hate you. And then you go, hey, how you doing? And they're like,
yeah,
are the heels the nicest guys and the baby faces are the assholes? Like,
yeah.
wow.
I actually was reading a story in one of Chris Jericho's books, and I loved how serious he would take being a heel. And
Yeah.
it was one of his times in WWE where um, he was a heel, and I think it was when he was, wearing the suit all the time, and he was using the big vocabulary, and everything.
Yeah.
He was calling people sycophants and stuff, in the crowd. And he was in an elevator with a dad and a son, in the story. And the kid was a Chris Jericho fan, and the dad was like, hey, my kid loves you. And he completely ignored them the whole time he was in the elevator, you know. He was like, it's killing me because I hate being this person, but at the same time, they're going to be right there booing, which is what
Right.
I'm being paid to do is get these people to boo,
Yeah.
and as a dad, it kind of hurts me hearing that because I know how I would feel if it was my son, but at the same time, as a wrestling fan, I totally respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't as serious about it as Chris was, but of course I didn't have a gimmick like that too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. You recently did his podcast, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
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 It was good to finally talk to him.
Yeah. Had y'all met before?
No, well, we did a convention together,
Okay.
but our paths crossed, like we just missed each other.
I got you.
I was gone from Calgary before he got there and then in the WCW, and so we just kind of paths crossed.
Right.
It happens in this business.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
I'm going to switch gears here again on you just a little bit.
all
There
right.
is a role that you did in the early 2000s that you're very well known for, and that is for the role of Sabretooth. And I kind of want to talk about, trying out for that and getting that part. And, you know, in most people that I've talked to, they say that your version was the most comic, accurate version that they've
Yeah.
had. So yeah, kind of talk about that.
Yeah, I just they were originally wanting to have me do the stunts
Okay,
for it. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I was a pro wrestler, but as far as high falls and things like that, I mean, that's just
yeah,
not my game.
yeah,
I draw the line at doing stuff like that, and they were like, "Well, how are you with a 120, 140 foot decelerator?" I'm like, "Oh, what? No, no, drop me 140 feet,
yeah,
And luckily, the stunt coordinator showed my picture to Brian Singer, and I was brought in to talk to him about the role,
yeah.
and ended up getting the role and going through that whole process, which was fantastic,
Hmm.
you know, and being able to, that was like the first real big project I was on, and being on set with Ian McKellen
Yeah,
Patrick Stewart and all these guys, Halle Berry, and I mean, it was just amazing, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. I
When
mean,
you do something like that, you have no idea how big it's going to be. I'd seen the comic books and seen the cartoons as a kid, but then you never really realized that, hey, this is going to kick off the comic book genre for films.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Those first couple X-Men movies, they did set. I mean, there were other comic book films that happened around that time, but those were some of the ones that, really kind of set the standard for future comic book movies.
yeah, yeah. It opened the door back up,
It did,
for Marvel to do what they're doing today. Yeah.
right? Well, and I mean, X-Men have finally made it into that MCU now, with
Yes.
so that's
Yeah.
very exciting to see. And I'm not gonna lie, whenever I saw you in the Deadpool versus Wolverine movie, I popped for sure because you were always the one who, I was like, okay, he's the one who looks like the guy. This is the one, you were my favorite one. Not trying to, just,
Yeah.
but you were always the one that I liked for that. And whenever I saw that they brought you back, I was like, okay, I'm loving this because that movie was just a kind of a love note, to comic book fans and to people of fans of all these movies in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a great call to get, man. When
Yeah.
Sean called and wanted to meet with me, I had to wait the whole weekend. I was like, oh my God, what's this gonna be about? So then, I get on the Zoom with him and he goes, "Do you know what I'm calling you about?" And I go, "Bloody hell, I hope so." you know, he goes, "Well, how do you feel about being Sabretooth again?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." You know? And he explained that it wasn't going to be all that much,
Right.
but I ended up having to train for 3 months for it. And I'm like, the only question he says, can you run? And I'm like, yeah, I can run. What are you talking about? And he's like, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up, and the good thing about it is I ended up training for 3 months, to get ready for that, to
Right.
lead up to it. And that's what got me back on my fitness journey that I'm on right now.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
So everything
So,
happens for a reason in this business. Sometimes you never know what or why,
yeah.
and and then it all comes through in the end.
I am a firm believer in that, everything happens for a reason, you might not see it right away, but eventually it's gonna be like, there it is. So,
Exactly. I learned that back when I did Scorpion King.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that I was supposed to be the third lead in that, and I was doing an HBO movie at the time,
Hmm.
and they wouldn't release me for half a day to film. They wouldn't give up first position, so I had to turn down Scorpion King.
Oh,
I was
wow.
upset and pissed.
Yeah.
But then, after they finished filming, comes back that they're going to do reshoots. They did $25 million worth of reshoots, I get a call from Chuck Russell, and he goes, "Hey, I really want you in this. Will you open up the film with me?" And you and Dwayne go at it. And hell yeah, let's do it. And I ended up working on that for, I think, 4 or 5 days,
Yeah.
and got paid more than I would have if I would have done the whole film before.
Wow.
So it all works out. And 15 years before that, I was on tour with Rocky Johnson,
Hmm.
and Rocky's coming out of Universal Studios where we're doing the reshoots,
Uh-huh.
and he goes, "What are you doing here?" I go, "I'm getting ready to work with your kid, old man." And he goes, "Oh, son of a." He goes, "Have you met Dwayne?" I go, "No." He says, "Come on, I'll go introduce you." So my first introduction to Dwayne was his dad introducing me to Dwayne, and us all three sitting in director's chairs just chatting, and it's pretty cool. So everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you're not making movies or writing comics, what do you like to do for fun?
Oh man, I work out. I'm doing the fitness stuff. I dabble in creating my own colognes and stuff like that. So
Oh,
I mean, yeah, I do all kinds of crazy things. I play a little bit of the guitar. I just I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
yeah.
Just try to relax and get by. But with having your own production company, you're usually pretty darn busy.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I can
like
imagine.
I said, it took us 3 years of creating that and getting everybody on board. So,
Yeah.
and especially since it is coming up to Halloween right now, we have the Halloween homage cover of the Last Spartan Red Tape, which is
Oh,
this.
cool. Okay. Yeah, I like
This
that.
is this is the hardcover.
Yeah.
This is the real deal. It's got the whole book in here, and it is the homage to Halloween. So you can get that on the lastspartan.com too. And like I say, a portion of the proceeds do go to deliverfund.org to help put an end to human trafficking.
Awesome.
That see how I circled all the way back to,
I
the,
s-
to that, you
Look at
know?
that. You're a pro at this, man.
But
So
yeah, I would really appreciate everybody's support. Go out and get a copy. Either go to your local comic book shop or go to thelastspartan.com. Check it out. It
yeah,
is a great read. It's getting great reviews, and I would appreciate your support.
absolutely. So I just have a couple more questions for you, and then we'll get you off of here.
All right, fire away.
So, do you have anything maybe coming up that you want to talk about before I get you off of here?
I am
Like
so busy.
events or something?
Oh, events? Yeah. I mean, I'm somewhere every weekend,
Yeah.
just go to tylermain.com and you can check out my calendar and see where I am. I think it should be up to date, but I keep adding new things every every few days or so. So it drives the people that deal with that crazy, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, you can check it out where I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be doing a lot of. So if you do have your local comic book shop or Halloween store or whatever, and you
Hmm.
want to tell your local store to have me in for a book signing, have them get in touch with me, and I'd love to come down and do a signing.
Awesome. Awesome. Uh,
Yeah.
do want to talk about one scene in a movie that you did, and it cracks me up, and that's in Joe Dirt, because
Okay.
you were the guy on the oil rig that beat up Joe Dirt, but he
Yeah.
ended up winning in the end.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
did that scene end up coming about when they told you that this was what you were going to do?
You mean which part? The
Well, I mean,
fight scene or the whole?
the fire actually, because I'm sure they told you about the fight scene first.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah. We did the whole scene, at the oil rig, and
Uh-huh.
that fart,
Yeah.
that type of thing. Uh, you know, and then we went into down to do the fight scene, and you know, pick up David, then get his stunt guy, throw him, and then luckily they had a stunt guy for me because
Oh, yay. Yeah.
I'd rather line at falling off of buildings and getting lit on fire. That just doesn't happen to us. You know what I mean? So
Right.
so luckily they had someone else take care of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's some pretty toxic piss, huh? If you,
Yeah.
I know the
Yeah.
guy really loved his Jack Daniels or something. I
I
don't know,
guess. Or, well, or I mean,
or
working
had a
near
lot of
oil,
oil all
Yeah.
over him.
If you could give somebody one piece of advice that you wish that you would have received when you first started, what would that be?
Do not pee on a fire when you have. No, one piece of advice that I would give someone into the acting,
Yes.
um, you just got to stick to it, and be tenacious and just meet everyone you can, and because it's a lot of the connections and being in the right place at the right time,
Right.
and being prepared for the situation. So
Yeah.
just if it's your dreams, you're going to be some ups and downs, but you got to follow your path, and that's what I did my whole life, all my careers, and it's ended up, being an amazing journey. And look at, I'm on your podcast right now.
Right.
So
Yeah. Which I appreciate that, man. I really
what
do.
could I ask for more?
So when you go to these cons, you meet all kinds of different interesting people. You have met people through wrestling, through everything that you've done. This is a two-part question, actually. What is your most favorite interaction that you've ever had with a fan? And then what is the weirdest interaction that you've had?
Oh, wow. um I have a lot of fans that if I'm in their area, they will come and see me. They
Yeah,
will drive 8 hours just to come and say hi, which
yeah,
is very cool to think that I have that kind of effect on their life, and some of my fans, they're like my movie or their comfort movies that they watch, and
yeah, yeah.
so it's just kind of it's kind of surreal when you have people that are that uh, taken back by what you do. Being a tall, skinny kid, glasses, braces, coming from Canada, you never, I could have never imagined that I would have an amazing fan base like that, that
Right.
would be very,
Yeah.
very supportive of everything I do, all the way down to my main entertainment, and now doing the graphic novels and stuff like that. And then the second part, the craziest thing,
Yeah.
uh, wow. I don't know. It kind of freaks me out every time when, people show me their Michael Myers tattoos or whatever, and then ask me to sign it, and then they're going to go get it tattooed on them. I'm like, why would you want my signature on your body for the rest of your life?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, that's another very humbling thing, because it's like they they love it
Right.
that much,
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So going with that, I actually last year, it was around this time, in fact, I had Chris Kamen Lee, who was the Red in Space Power Ranger. And he told a story. I asked him that question, and that was kind of his answer, but turned out that's now his fiance who asked for the signature
Uh,
and came back the next day with it tattooed. So
I guess that's one way to get them.
yeah, I guess so. So, like I said, we're getting close to a close here and everything. Is there anything else that maybe you want to talk about before I get you off of here?
No, just, please check out the Last Spartan red tape. Follow along with that because that journey is just beginning. And I would greatly appreciate your support. Deliverfund.org would greatly appreciate your support so that they can keep doing what needs to be done.
Yeah. And I will have both of those in my show notes, both of those links. That way it'll be easy for people to get to them. Go out, get your book. I do
Love
one
them.
more thing on the show. I started doing this a few episodes ago, and I'm just going to continue it. This is
We've done one more thing several times. Okay,
we have. This is the last one.
Okay, what is it?
This is If You Give a Dad a Podcast. So if you give a dad a podcast, you've got to have a dad joke. And so I tell my guest the dad joke of the week.
Okay, fire away. Let's hope it's funny.
Well, it might be a groaner. So what do you get when you drop a pumpkin?
A crushed pumpkin?
A squash.
All right, man. It's been great talking to you. Jared.
Yeah.
It's been fun, but it's not real fun anymore. So I gotta go.
All right. I will talk to you for a minute after we end this, but we're going to say bye here for now. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Please, thank you. Check out thelastspartan.com, people. I would greatly appreciate it.
And then he ran off. He thought this old lady was Laurie Strode. Here, he's been Leatherface. Look.
Leatherface 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's the River Runs Red giveaway. River Runs Red giveaway. Creator of the mascot for the con that we're at today. So yeah,
You guys missed it.
How are y'all doing tonight? No, wait, it's still day.
Oh,
Thought
yeah.
about buying a Funko Pop. Though.
See, there's that one.
Oh, they got Land Before Time Funko
Oh,
Pops.
nice. They do.
If You Give a Dad a Podcast.